In this episode of Business Connect, we have a look at the situation of the sugarcane industry in Mauritius. 2018 was not a very good year for sugar, and in 2019, production of sugar is expected to be around 350,000 tons for the country. So to cover this segment in this program, we will be meeting a small planter, one of the big players, and also people from the authorities. Mr. Bandu, you're the CEO of MCIA. Thank you very much for accepting being with us for this program of Business Connect. First things first, please give us a brief history of sugarcane in Mauritius.
Well, the important point to note is that the sugar industry in Mauritius is an export-based industry, right? Over 90% of our sugar production goes for the export market, and 10% goes for the local market. We used to export sugar under the preferential agreement. That is, we had a preferential volume, price, and market. So with the reform of the EU market, EU sugar regime, and the sugar protocol, we don't have the sugar protocol today. So that means we don't have any preferences. So, and the last difficulty which the sugar industry faced was with the abolition of the internal quota in the European Union. So what means is that what it means that so that anybody can you can export your sugar to the European market, but the problem is a big problem is the price. Revenue has gone down by more than 40%. And we have a viability price of which in year 2017-18 we worked out a sugar, viability price of around 17,000 rupees per ton of sugar. And when you have a revenue, the last year the ex-MSS price was 8,800, and this year I think it's going to be around that figure, maybe 19,000. But still, when you look at the shortfall between the viability price and the revenues that you're getting, there's a big gap. The difficulty is addressing this gap.
André Bonnieu, you're the CEO of Alteo, one of the major producers of sugar in the country. Please tell us, what is the situation of sugar and sugarcane for 2019 in terms of harvest and also in terms of production?
First of all, thank you for having me on your program. The sugar sector is facing headwinds, stiff headwinds in fact. Why? Essentially, the price of sugar for the last crop was excessively poor, and those prices, even though they look a little bit better for the 2019 crop, the evidence we have so far is that they're still too low to our liking. But the indications are that once we start selling our 2019 crop, which happens in September, October, the expectation is that the prices should be a little bit, and I say a little bit, better than last year. Having said that, we're not seeing massive increases in the price of sugar, so the prices are likely to be better. By how much, it's still very difficult, or it's too early to tell at the moment.
When we compare production of sugar for 2019, is it an increase or decrease compared to 2018, which was last year?
Well, last year was a particularly poor crop for the Alteo factory area. So in fact, 2018 was declared an event year, and that's when our production of sugar drops below 20% of our insured sugar. I won't go into the technicalities, but basically last year was a poor crop. This year, for 2019, we expect a much better crop in terms of yield, rendement en carreau, as everyone will understand. So we expect a higher yield from our fields, and the sugar content is a little bit less than last year, but overall, when a key measure of our production is tons of sugar per hectare, and that metric is higher this year, so we expect a much better crop than last year in terms of sugar volumes.
Mr. Ganesbarat, you're one of the small planters of Mauritius. You're located in the east of the country. Tell us, how much land do you have under sugarcane cultivation?
Well, for the moment, we have around 20 arpents under sugarcane cultivation, around 600 tons of cane we produce yearly, which brings us to about 40 to 45 tons of sugar.
You just mentioned that your sugarcane produces approximately 50 tons of sugar. So that means that you fall under the new scheme announced by the Prime Minister in the budget, where it will be paid 25,000 rupees per ton of sugar. How does this change the game for you?
Well, since I'm a planter of under 60 tons of sugar, so I'll benefit that 25,000 rupees per ton of sugar, which is a very good initiative from the government, because for the last few years we have been getting around 16 to maximum 18,000 rupees per ton of sugar, and with the cost expense going up and up, and all the maintenance costs going high, with this amount 25,000 we'll be able to harvest our cane properly and maintain also.
Being a small planter, what are the main challenges that you face, and what are the biggest costs that you have to encounter?
The main cost involved is the harvest cost, fertilizer, and the labor for application of fertilizer and some maintenance in the fields. And the problem planters have been facing last few years is labor issue, mainly labor issue, and the high cost of harvest also.
In 2015, we had the government has created the Cane Sustainability Fund, and this eventually was legislated, right? So the planters benefited from the Cane Sustainability Fund to the tune of 1,100 rupees per ton of sugar, and this is for the first time, moving from 120 to 150 rupees per ton of bagasse to 1,100 rupees per ton of bagasse, plus the bagasse transfer price fund. And the small, all planters benefited, planters, small, big, for the first 60 tons of sugar, they benefited the sum of 1,100 rupees per ton of sugar. And this was for the crop 2015, 16, and 17.
Is it possible for small planters to mechanize the whole planting and harvesting of sugarcane?
For small planters, at the moment, it's quite difficult because we don't have proper machineries for small planters. We have big machines for corporates, for huge plot of lands, but for small planters, we don't have any machine. We have mechanical loading only, but we don't have harvesting, the whole process mechanical.
2018 was considered as a bad year in terms of harvest and also sugar production. How is it for you in terms of sugar harvesting as a small planter?
For last year, 2018, it was quite a bad year for me personally and for the planters around. It was almost a 10% less yield last year, and which means less revenue for the planter. And less revenue means you're short of cash, of money for maintenance and for harvest and all. Yeah.
With all the benefits and the new prices being given by decision makers, do you find it encouraging to invest more in the sugarcane industry?
For 2019, firstly, I would like to say that with the fertilizer grant that we got last year, this year's yield is much better for most planters, and with a very good price also. So it's very good for planters this year. With a high yield and a good price, planters will get enough money. They'll be able to harvest easily and maintain also.
So you would say that it is very encouraging.
It's very encouraging for planters. And also I would like to add that this year, planters with the high yield, the better yields this year and the good price, I think planters need to focus, like to take advantage of the ALMS project by the MCIA, ALMS, which is a replantation scheme for small planters, and where the government, the MCIA, finance you up to around 30,000 rupees per arpent, and it's a grant. You don't have to return that money. So planters need to take advantage of that and replant their canes for future crops, for future harvest. They can get better yield. So even the price is going low and high, at least they will have a stable, a fixed yield.
For the sake of our viewers who are watching at home, can you please tell us how much land and how much sugarcane must be harvested to produce 1 ton of sugar?
Our statistics to date, we are producing 7.3 tons per hectare under cultivation. So, people in Mauritius like to talk about arpent. So we have to divide that by 2.369. But let's say if we talk hectares, and my statistics are in hectares, we're looking at 7.33 to date, but that's a figure that rises over the year. So hopefully we'll finish between 750 and 8 tons of sugar per hectare.
Mauritius produces 2 types of sugars, the white sugar and the special sugars. Please tell us, what are the markets that we have for both kinds of sugars from Mauritius?
Well, we have different sugars. We have what we call special sugars, and we have white refined sugar. So our white refined sugar essentially goes to Kenya. Kenya, they call it industrial sugar. So that goes to bottlers, to brewers. There's a lot of sugar in beer, a lot of sugar in carbonated drinks, and also to Europe. Europe is a big market for our white refined sugar. And in terms of special sugars, which represents about half our production, that's nationally. We produce about 150,000 tons of special sugars, and there the market is even more diversified. It goes to Europe, it goes to the US, it goes to the Far East, and your viewers may be interested to know that we have just won additional markets in China and India. We are confident that the Indian agreement is about to be signed. So we're talking 50,000 tons of special sugars for China. That will happen over a 5-year term, and we're talking 40,000 for India. So hopefully the Indian agreement will be signed, and these will be new markets for our special sugars.
Is either the white sugar or the special sugar produced here in the country can be considered as one of the best in the world?
Unfortunately, sugar is a commodity. It's very difficult. As far as the white refined sugar, it's actually, to my knowledge, it's impossible to tell the difference. So I think for the white refined, we compete in Europe with locally produced beet sugar, and it's all the same. In terms of special sugars, and in fact the whole strategy behind special sugars is to move away from the commodity aspect. So we do produce some sugars which I would like to think are unique, but today we face competition, be it from Asia or be it from Central America, of other countries producing also special sugars. So white is definitely a commodity, special sugars a little bit less so, but competition is increasing.
How important do you think it is to improve the value added of the special sugars produced by Mauritius going forward, especially in being able to face the difficulties in the sugar industry?
We're going to increase, yes, I mean, would be one of what I call would be the savior of the industry, to increase the amount of sugar, the volume of sugar, the volume of special sugars. But we can go to around up to 180 to, I mean, in the years to come, not immediately, in the years to come, 180 to 200. If we could export, if we could produce all special sugar, it was so much better. But I mean, probably take a lot of time to achieve that, right? Because why special sugars? The special sugars. I mean, we have been one of the major producer of special sugars, and the quality of our special sugars, are well known around the world. Because you can produce sugar, but today the quality counts. But there's one thing which we need to do, is what I call branding of our sugar. This has been, I think this is a weak point. This is a weak point, and we need to put a lot of effort in the branding. Recently we had WIPO, that is World Intellectual Property Organization, had a workshop here. And also they were trying to, I think there are one or two products they have, but unfortunately we didn't manage to secure one of the projects to create brand for our special sugar. But this is, I take it, having been with the sugar industry for so long, this is going to be a sine qua non condition. We know, I can see I can stick my neck out, is that we are one of the most, in terms of the quality of the sugar, we are one of the most important quality producer in the world. There's no doubt about it. But where we need to put a lot of effort is on the branding. I mean, it's the same. You go in a shop, you go and buy Ralph Lauren, and you probably have the same stuff next door. But for the trademark, you pay 3 times or 4 times. But I mean, this is the name of the game.
With all the challenges and the competition from around the world in the sugarcane industry, what are the measures and initiatives that are being taken going forward?
I think Mauritius and Alteo would still qualify as being a high-cost producer. So the name of the game is to take costs out of the system. So we have a strategy to go to mechanize our activities. Part of it is already mechanized. We already harvest about 7,000 hectares mechanically. That has to go further. Today we don't plant mechanically. That is happening. We don't apply our fertilizers and herbicides mechanically. That is happening. So going forward, for 2 reasons. One is a cost dimension, and the second one is availability of labor. It's an issue. So as far as we're concerned, taking costs out of the system means going mechanical. At a national level, the Minister of Finance this year talked about the biomass framework. The industry has been calling for a biomass framework for years now, and hopefully we'll see that framework being into place. And that is essentially, for us, it's around getting better value for our bagasse. So as planters, our cane goes to the mills crush the cane, bagasse is a byproduct that goes into boilers and produces electricity. So we feel as planters that with a proper biomass policy in place, a proper biomass framework, that we would get value for that bagasse. So that would be, in fact, would be a boost to our revenues. We would not just be selling sugar, but we would be also earning revenues for our bagasse. And those figures could be significant if a proper framework was put into place.
So you think people should stay in business or diversify their lands that they use for sugar production into other businesses?
Sugarcane planters, I think they need to stay in business, like to continue their plantation, because still we need sugar, we need that revenue from sugar. Mauritius government need that money, and I think we have a very good quality of sugar, which we need to continue to produce.
Is there anything else you would like to add up before wrapping up this interview?
But I would like to add that maybe the last few years has been quite difficult for planters, but I think planters need to stay focused. Planters need to keep their yield stable, a good yield. The price will go up and down, but the government will do what they can to help planters when need be.
So you still believe that there's a future for
There's
the
a future in
sugarcane?
sugarcane, yeah. There's a future in sugar also.
The country still needs this industry. The main reason why the country needs this industry is because of its multifunctionality. We produce sugar. Sugar is one component. We produce sugar. And today you will know that we don't export raw sugar. All the sugars, we either export refined white sugar or special sugars. Today we've got, around 110 to 120,000 tons of special sugars we produce, and we're increasing that to around 140. But the target is to go to some 200,000 tons of sugar, special sugars. Even from bagasse, we've started using cane thrush. The whole idea is to make the best use of the biomass which is being produced in the island. Firstly, to produce energy, and also biomass is so that the sugar industry is one of the best, one of the most important plant to absorb carbon dioxide, what we call the carbon sequestration.
We have now almost come to the end of this interview. Would you like to add anything before wrapping up?
I've been with this industry for more than 3 decades, but I'm confident that we'll find the answers to the problems of the industry. We need to work hard, we will work hard, and I'm fully confident that we will find the answers together with government. Our government will find the answers to the industry. Because as I said, the industry will still need to play an instrumental role within the socio-economic framework of this country.
Business Connect, that's it for tonight. Find this program on our website and also follow us on our Facebook page. Next week, we'll meet you on the same channel for another edition of Business Connect. Till then, it's goodbye.